It was a clear day in Phoenix, Arizona on November 29, 2004. Folks were out shopping, just enjoying the sunshine. But for one young man, that day would be his last. His name was Robert Keith Palomares. He was only 24 years old. Robert worked as an armored truck guard. He was a good man, with a dream of becoming a police officer. He was just doing his job, collecting money from a movie theater. He had no idea that a monster was waiting for him, watching his every move. He did not know that his life was about to be stolen from him in a violent and brutal act. The monster's name is Jason Derek Brown. He stood outside that AMC theater with a hidden gun. He was not there to see a movie, he was there to rob and to kill. When Robert Palomares walked out with a bag of money, Brown made his move. He didn't just threaten Robert, he shot him, not once but 5 times at point-blank range. Robert never had a chance. He fell to the ground, his life over in an instant. Brown grabbed the bag, which held $56,000, and callously fled the scene on a bicycle, leaving a family shattered and a community in shock. This was not a robbery that went wrong, this was a cold-blooded execution. The evidence shows that Brown planned this attack carefully. He knew the schedule of the armored truck. He had practiced shooting his .45 caliber pistol in the desert. He was prepared to take a life for money. He showed no mercy, no hesitation. The life of Robert Palomares meant absolutely nothing to him. All that mattered was the cash. This act revealed the true evil lurking behind Brown's charming smile, a darkness that he had hidden from the world for years. The crime scene was horrific. First responders arrived to find a young man dead, his future stolen from him for a bag of cash. The bicycle Brown used to escape was found nearby, but he was gone. He had vanished into the city, leaving behind a trail of grief and questions. The Phoenix Police Department and the FBI immediately launched a massive investigation. They quickly identified Jason Derek Brown as their prime suspect. But finding him would prove to be one of the greatest challenges in the history of American law enforcement. He was a ghost, a phantom who had just committed a terrible crime. To understand how Jason Derek Brown disappeared, you have to understand who he is. On the surface, he seemed like the all-American guy. He was good-looking, athletic, and well-spoken. He had a master's degree in international business and could speak fluent French. He drove flashy cars, wore expensive clothes, and partied in exclusive nightclubs. People who met him described him as charismatic and fun. He projected an image of success and wealth. He wanted everyone to believe he was a rich, important man who had everything under control. He was the life of the party, a friend to many. But underneath that perfect image was a dark and twisted reality. Jason Brown was a liar. He was a con man. His entire life was a carefully constructed fraud. The expensive cars were bought with fake loan applications. The lavish lifestyle was funded by bad checks and credit card scams. He had no real job, no legitimate source of income. He was deeply in debt, constantly scrambling to keep his house of cards from falling down. He was a master manipulator, able to fool banks, friends, and even his own family. He lived a double life, and the pressure was building. His childhood may hold some clues to his criminal path. His own sister has said that their father was abusive and taught Jason how to be a criminal. She described Jason as his father's minion, learning to cheat and steal from a young age. This upbringing may have warped his sense of right and wrong, teaching him that deception was the key to survival and success. He learned to value material possessions and public image above all else. He became obsessed with looking rich no matter the cost to others. This obsession would eventually lead him to commit the ultimate crime. This ability to be two different people is what makes him so dangerous. He can blend in anywhere. He could be your friendly neighbor, your new coworker, or the charming man you meet at a coffee shop. He knows how to gain people's trust and then exploit it. This skill is not just for scams, it's a tool for survival. After the murder, he used this charm to hide in plain sight, to fool people into helping him, and to stay one step ahead of the law. He is a social chameleon, able to change his colors to fit any environment, making him incredibly difficult to find. Jason Brown's life before the murder was a series of escalating scams. He was a professional liar, and his product was himself. He craved the high life, the fast cars, the beautiful women, and the respect that came with the appearance of wealth. To get it, he created a fantasy world. He would take out loans for expensive vehicles like BMWs and then sell them for cash, never making a single payment. He would open bank accounts with false information, write bad checks, and run up huge debts on credit cards. He was always on the move, always looking for his next mark. his next scheme to keep the money flowing. He treated people like pawns in his personal game. He would charm his way into their lives, gain their trust, and then betray them without a second thought. He left a trail of financial victims who had believed his stories and his promises. But as his debts grew, his schemes became more desperate. The easy cons were no longer enough to support his expensive habits. He was living on borrowed time, and the walls were closing in. He needed a big score, a quick infusion of cash that would solve all his problems and allow him to continue his fraudulent lifestyle. This desperation is what led him to Phoenix. He saw the armored truck as his golden ticket. The robbery wasn't just about the $56,000, it was about maintaining his false identity. The money was a lifeline to keep his world of lies from collapsing. He planned the crime with cold, calculated precision. He bought the murder weapon legally. He surveilled the movie theater, learning the guards' routines. He even practiced his aim in the desert, a chilling sign of his deadly intent. He was no longer just a con man, he was preparing to become a killer. The murder of Robert Palomares was the final step in Brown's dark transformation. He crossed a line from which there was no return. He had always stolen money, but now he had stolen a life. The act was brutal and unnecessary. He could have simply taken the money, but he chose to execute a man who posed no threat to him. This shows the depth of his depravity. He was willing to do anything to get what he wanted, and he felt no remorse for his actions. After the murder, he was no longer just a fraud, he was one of America's most wanted criminals. After killing Robert Palomares and stealing the money, Jason Derek Brown simply vanished. It was a disappearing act that has, baffled law enforcement for nearly 2 decades. He fled Arizona and drove to California, where he stayed with his sister for a few days. She said he acted completely normal, showing no signs of stress or guilt. He was calm and collected, just the same old charming Jason. Then one day, he was gone. He left his family behind and drove north. Months later, his car was found in a long-term parking lot at the Portland International Airport in Oregon. And, that's where the trail went cold. For years, the FBI had Brown on their 10 most wanted fugitives list. They offered a reward of up to $200,000 for any information that could lead to his capture. Sightings were reported from all over the country, and even from other parts of the world, but none of them ever led to his arrest. He became a ghost, a phantom who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. His face was on billboards, on television, and all over the internet. Yet, he remained free. In 2022, the FBI removed him from the list, not because he was no longer wanted, but because the publicity was no longer generating credible leads. So why is he so hard to catch? First, he looks like an average guy. He doesn't have any tattoos, scars, or other distinctive features. He can easily change his hair color and style. With a pair of glasses or a beard, he could walk right past you without a second glance. Second, he is intelligent and resourceful. With his master's degree and fluency in French, he could easily create a new identity and find work in another country. He is comfortable in different social settings, from high-end resorts to Mormon communities, where he has been known to blend in. The leading theory is that Brown is living a quiet life under a new name. He is likely avoiding technology, using cash for all his transactions, and staying completely off the grid. He is smart enough to know that a single credit card swipe or social media post could lead the FBI right to his door. Is he still in the United States, or did he flee abroad? Is he even still alive? Some investigators believe he is, living a simple life somewhere, while others think he might have died long ago. Until he is found, or his remains are discovered, Jason Derek Brown remains a true American mystery. While Jason Derek Brown lives as a free man or remains a mystery, one family lives with the consequences of his evil act every single day. The family of Robert Keith Palomares has been denied justice for nearly 2 decades. Robert was a son, a brother, and a friend. He was a young man with a bright future, a man who wanted to serve his community as a police officer. He was robbed of that future, of the chance to get married, have children, and live a full life. His family was robbed of him. Their pain does not fade with time. For them, every news story, every anniversary of the murder, is a painful reminder of what they lost. They have waited patiently for the phone call that says Brown has been caught. They have listened to theories and followed the manhunt, hoping for a breakthrough that never comes. The removal of Brown from the FBI's top 10 list was surely a difficult blow, a sign that the world might be starting to forget, but they will never forget. They are the living legacy of Robert's memory, and their fight for justice continues. even when it feels hopeless. They deserve answers. They deserve to see the man who destroyed their family face a judge. This case is a stark warning. There are monsters among us who look just like everyone else. Jason Derek Brown is not a character in a movie. He is a real person who committed a real and terrible crime. He is armed and extremely dangerous, and he has proven that he is willing to kill to get what he wants. As long as he is free, he remains a threat to public safety. Someone somewhere knows something. Someone may have met a charming man with a hidden past. A man who pays in cash and avoids talking about his family. The search for Jason Derek Brown is not over. The warrants for his arrest are still active. The case is still open. We must not forget Robert Palomares. We must not let his killer get away with murder. Keep your eyes open. Look at the pictures. Listen to the descriptions. The man who took a young life for $56,000 is still out there. He may have changed his name, but he cannot change what he did. And for the sake of Robert's family and for the safety of us all, he must be brought to justice. Don't let him hide in the shadows forever.